Hello, beautiful ones. Here is my pre-jungle jitters video for you. Charlie here, and I was going to do a part two of my jungle update for you that I'd promised from last time. But what's happened is I am literally within 24 hours of getting back on the plane, heading back into the Amazon jungle, back to Yossi Ocha retreat, where I absolutely love and adore, to the beautiful family, the Shipibo family, Garcia, Maestro Alberto Garcia and his beautiful family. I am heading back within 24 hours. I'll be getting on. I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So by the time you get this, because I'm actually scheduling this email to after I've left, I will be well on my way, probably in Lima, Iquitos, and heading into the jungle. So I'm doing this because I wanted to share with you the kind of, I don't know, it's like the preparation, what happens, the goings on, the mental stuff that happens, the energetic stuff that happens when you're kind of getting yourself ready to go into something that you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. So I know there's so many people that are venturing and taking on this adventure of the plant medicine journey, the psychedelic experience, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's Wachuma or San Pedro, maybe it's a bufo ceremony, maybe it's some kind of mushroom psychedelic ceremony. There's so many now, right? It's so much more accessible than what it used to be. It's a lot more accessible in Western places, whether it's legally done or illegally done. I'm going to Peru where it's legal, and I'm doing it very traditionally with the family. And I love that. I love the rustic nature of Yossi Ocha. The retreat itself is definitely, there's a lot of retreats that are popping up in Peru that have been very, I guess, more glamorized. Westerners have come in and upgraded things and poured money into stuff for Westerners coming over because, there's plenty of people that don't like roughing it so much. But for me, I love the rustic nature of Yossi Orchard. Now, when I say rustic, it's not awful. It's lovely. It's to get a beautiful bungalow and a bed, and you get taken care of, and food and everything is taken care of. But there's no electricity. You have candlelight. You have electricity at certain times of the evening when it's dinner time, when it's meal times. There's Wi-Fi only at certain times, but it's done that way as part of the medicine. It's part of the medicine that you unplug from your normal routine, your normal rituals, your day-to-day things that you take for granted. Let's face it, we all take for granted the things that we can access at any time, at any given moment, right? The fact that I'm here recording from my hotel room, that I've just kind of gone, I'm going to do this. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to record to people and throw it up on my YouTube and have it there for whoever wants to listen. I mean, that in itself is something that you take for granted now. It's just sharing things immediately. And there's something about not being able to do all those things for a period of time that helps you reflect on who you are, your space in the world, where we are in society, all the things that we have that we take for granted. And I mean that in a sense that, I'm going away for 5 weeks. I need to set things up as far as everything from bills being paid to, having money accessible at certain times and what happens when I get back and all those kinds of things. All the things you would normally do when you travel. But I guess it's also taking that next step because in South America, in Peru, and specifically in Iquitos, Iquitos is an hour away from where I'm at. Where I actually go to in Yossi Ocha is completely and utterly in the jungle. So there's no shops or anything nearby, and there's no transport in or out unless you need it, obviously. But generally, if you don't need anything, you're expected to have all the things there that you need for that period of time. And everything, else other than that is supplied, of course, your food and things like that. But why I'm saying that is because there's something in that. And that's what I really wanted to share. There's something actually medicinal in the preparation of going, what do I actually need? And what do I really not need? Like, you want to keep your packing down to the barest minimum. But in saying that, it's also 5 weeks in extreme heat and humidity, and there's no washing. Like, you wash things by hand, so there's no laundry. You can get your laundry done, but what I'm saying is there's no washing machine and dryer that you can just throw it in there and have it done in an hour. You utilize the elements, and whether it's sunny as to whether your clothes will be dry, etc. So all of these things help you to really reflect on, like I said, all the things that we take for granted, all the things that we usually want faster and faster in our society. Like, why can't I get my laundry done quickly? Why can't I just get that done now? Why can't I just talk to this person or access this thing? Um, and why can't I, if I want something, we're so well trained with Amazon Prime, like well, I need this thing refilled. I'll just get it and it should be here within 24 hours. And the irony of that, I'm in the Amazon and there's no Amazon. My perverted sense of humor. Anyway, so I'm sharing this with you because it's part of the medicine. It's part of the medicine of going to the jungle. People ask me, why do I keep going back? I can't wait to be there because of the medicine that provides, that I'm unplugged. I'm in a space where nature is so beautiful. It's so loud. It's so big. It's everywhere. That everything about nature is enveloping, and you literally just become part of nature itself. You are just another being in the mass surroundings of the trees and all the greenery that is all there, and the loudness of all the beautiful birds and frogs and everything that's continuously speaking, the daytime version of animals that's so loud, and then the nighttime version of animals. And then, of course, becoming part of that, and then the layer of medicine on top of that. So of course the ceremonies that we have at nighttime, and the partaking of the medicine, and where that takes you, and that's what then becomes your own personal journey. And just wanting to say, in preparation of that, um, is what happens when you start to go, okay, I'm preparing to take myself out of my normal routines and my society and my life and my community and my family and whatever, people I have around me, and put myself in a situation where I'm going to meditate and commune with the spirits of the plants that I'm taking, the medicines that I'm taking, and also in the culture of the people who are providing those. So it's a quite a shift. And I think it's important. I'm going to bring this up in a way because what I'm hearing with a lot of Westerners that are taking part in psychedelics is that they're trying to make the psychedelic, and I am generalizing, but this is what I'm hearing through a lot of different summits that are happening, a lot of different, because there's so many people that are now taking part in psychedelics, that they're trying to work out ways to do it without the culture and without the ceremony and without the tradition. And my message in this, as I'm preparing myself and have been preparing myself for the last few weeks before I'm heading in, because obviously, my week starts next week, that it's so important, this culture part and the tradition part and the preparation of the change that I will go through is actually part of the medicine. It helps me reflect on my own cultures. It helps me reflect on my routines and what I consider important to myself in this space, so that it then allows me to go, is it really that important? Like, I'm about to go 5 weeks without doing that. Maybe that's something that I don't need to do. Maybe there's a healthier way of me having a routine. Maybe there's parts of the routine of the jungle that I can bring home with me. maybe there's messages from the jungle, maybe there's messages from this other culture that I can bring home with me. Like, what are those things? Whether it's not needing to be in such a rush about things, not needing to be in this, um, everything is based on scheduling. Because I know that we feel like everything is based on scheduling, but that's only because that's all we know. Things don't actually have to be that way. There are things that we can create that are more important to ourselves, especially when it comes to our own self-care, our own mental health, our own day-to-day routine of what we consider important. And that could just be the way we start the day, right? Like how quickly we get out of bed, the fact that we make rules for ourselves, like not checking our phone first thing in the morning, but going to, change our routine differently by getting out of bed, getting outside, doing something different. And it doesn't have to be dramatically different. It can be very small different. Just stretching, doing a stretch, doing some breath work, doing something that is different, that doesn't involve a time frame or checking in on other things. And obviously I'm talking about checking on your phone or computers or emails, like what other things are happening in the outside world. So getting back to my preparation and moving into a culture of different people. So when I'm taking, there's a group of women that are coming with me on this retreat, which is very exciting. I'm very excited for them. This will be their first experience of, going to a different country, doing plant medicine this way. So that's always exciting. I'm excited for anyone taking their first steps, and it's very brave, but it's a whole new world that's about to open up for them. But it's also understanding other people's cultures. So when you go to, especially in Peru, it's a very different way of viewing the world. It's a different language. They have a different way of doing things. So it's checking your own culture and seeing how you can view. It's like having a different worldview. I guess I'm trying to be polite about saying this, and I'm gonna directly explain why. Last year, when I spent 3 months at Yosiocha, there were a lot of people coming in from different cultures, a lot of different places around the world. And it was holiday season and it was very busy. And what I noticed from being there for a while, because I'd kind of settled into the place a little bit, was that people bring their culture in and are quite demanding that their culture is met in a different world. So it's kind of like saying, well, I'm here. These are the things that I expect when I'm at home. Why aren't they here? And I found that very closed-minded. I found that very, well, I find it quite rude, to be honest. That's just my personal view. But that's from people that aren't used to traveling. I think it's kind of checking yourself and going, I can't expect to have certain things in a place where those things aren't normal. Those things aren't part of the culture. And I'm saying this because I want, in case someone happens to stumble upon this video as preparation for going into the Amazon, preparation for going to Peru, preparation to going to another culture, is check your own self. What is the power and control? What is the culture that I'm bringing into a space that says, am I privileged in this space? Do I have things and needs that really aren't expected in the place that I'm going to, that I'm demanding? And making other people feel like they're less than because they can't provide them. This is a big conversation, and it's what's happening a lot as Westerners tend to come more into these countries that just don't work along these same parameters. They have different cultures. They have different expectations. Even as little as expecting air conditioning in a place that doesn't actually have electricity, making those kinds of demands are a little rude, especially when it's clearly not stated anywhere that there is air conditioning. And really, it's like that's part of the detox process. That's just one little thing, but I'm hoping you're understanding the message that I'm spending, that I'm giving here. And because culture is a big thing for me, I love other people's cultures. I love learning about other people's cultures. I have traveled the world considerably over my years, and also just my own culture at home that I'm you know very protective of this, of the sense that culture is other people's, um I guess it's something that it's very important to people specifically. And if you aren't aware of your own culture, then that's a good lesson for you to really open your mind and be open to the worldview of others. And what am I bringing? Anyway, so that's part of the preparation of going on travel and also going to someone else's home. And I guess that's probably the way I'm looking at it. If you're going to someone else's home, you don't demand your own things, right? You're mindful of what they have in their space. So if you're going to another country and if you're going to another person's retreat, think of it as their home, and respecting what they do in their own space. And then, of course, there's the spiritual preparation. And you can call it spiritual, you can call it energetic preparation. I have been very, really looking forward to this 5 weeks in a whole different way than I did the 3 months. To be honest, prior to the 3 months that I did last year, I was not in a good space in preparation for it. There was something brewing in me that was like, I don't want you to go to this. 3 months is going to be scary. Obviously, I got through it and it was challenging. And I know now why there was that fear, because there was this big energy that needed to be released. This time around, it's quite different. It's been excited preparation. And I guess that's also because I'm guiding other people to come as well. And I know I have, it's more like a home to me now. And I know some people that are going to be there. So there'll be a reuniting of friends, and like a family. So that's exciting. But interestingly enough, just this last 48 hours, it has shifted. And this is something that can often happen for people in preparation of doing something that is going to require a change or an inward facing challenge of some kind. Or, I know that this is going to be a next level of training for me. I know that Maestro Herberto has a few, new challenges for me to do, because that's part of what the training involves. It's always about facing fears. It's always about going to the next level, and he will definitely push me to the edge, which is part of what it's about. And I guess probably within the last 48 hours, it's only really kind of shifted in my energetic. So it's almost like my internal spirit is kind of going, okay, yep, there's going to be some things coming up. And there's been a shift of, I wouldn't say anxiety, because I personally don't relate to the word anxiety. I have a different kind of energetics around it. It's almost like I turn into a sulky teenager, and there's that part of me that sort of goes, oh, why are we doing this again? This is dumb. I don't want to go now. Like that's, I mean, I'm aware of it. I don't, I don't really say it out loud, but I hear her. It's almost like there's that part of me that sits and says, this is dumb. Why, I don't get it. Why are we going again? Oh, we really do have to rethink these things. And I go through this little argument within myself. I'm sharing this with you because I feel like this is something that we all go through in our different ways. And it's really helpful if you can address it as a part of yourself. So, my teenage years, I was very kind of, no one's going to force me to do anything I don't want to do. I had to grow up fast. I was, living on my own when I was 15. So, life was pretty hectic for me in my teenage years and beyond. So there was that real rebellious kind of version of myself and feeling of abandonment. So she comes up in me as a part that is very protective of any form of deep inner work. change, facing fears? When do I need to put my kind of bravery on? She's going to come up and go, oh, really? Is this what we're doing? And challenge my discipline, challenge my reasons for doing anything, challenge my ability. Like I start to get a little bit like, oh, okay, have I really got this in me? Is this going to work? All the doubts start to come up. Um, and I guess I just wanted to share that with you because I just really wanted to be honest with you about the fact that I think no matter how many times, like I'm going in, this is like my third, fourth trip into the jungle now. And to me, I'm kind of like, okay, I maybe I should be should be okay with this by now. Maybe I should just be doing this really easily. And obviously that word should is never helpful. But my humanness is just that, yeah, I'm always going to be challenged. There's always that part of me that says, I don't know, maybe this is dumb. Maybe there's better ways to be doing things. Maybe we can just stick with the way we do things and not change. But, that's clearly not in my not in my choices. So I'm sharing that with you. Maybe that can relate in a sense of when you find something challenging that you have to do or something that you're trying to make different. It doesn't have to be as big as going into the jungle and doing something that dramatic. It could just be that you're trying to set yourself something different, that you want to do things differently. Because for me, she still comes up when it comes to that. It's like, oh, okay. So you were serious about doing this differently. I thought it was just another one of those ideas that you came up with and then, oh, but we're actually not going to do it. Because, that happens a lot, right? Facing fears is always going to bring up that part of you that doesn't agree with that idea at all. And I find it helpful if you acknowledge that as a part, as a version of you, or as the whether it's your inner child, whether it's the, saboteur, whether it's the perfectionist, whatever modality or theory of person or that you want to go into to name that as the part of you that's protecting you from doing something crazy, and that sounds scary and maybe you get hurt. It's way easier to acknowledge that, name it, and allow it to be heard and go, okay, yep, I hear you. I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to look out for you and I'm going to acknowledge that, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we'll just go with that and see how it works. So that's my way of getting through the challenging parts. As far as other things to prepare for, look, honestly, I just go through the travel. The actual travel part is my kind of initiation into going into a different country and into a different world. All the chaos of the airports and the lineups and the different language stuff and all those kinds of things. For me, it's like going through a portal. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving that part of my life behind. I'm going into this world, and I go into it with an open-minded curiosity of, well, what is this adventure going to bring me? I definitely don't try to get pessimistic about lineups and people who go slow or people who haven't traveled before, and because you actually set yourself up for a horrendous travel experience. At the end of the day, when it comes to travel, um, I always get funny when people get all, upset about lineups and things to get onto a plane when everyone is going to the same spot. Like eventually you will get on and it will get going. So I don't waste my energy on being upset with people who just do it differently. And that's my way of portaling into another space. And yeah, I guess that's my way of connecting with you before I go. I am a very different person this time round from from last year and the 3 months. So I'm looking forward to being able to share with you more frequently. I've integrated much better now. And yeah, I really look forward to sharing more with you from the other side. So it'll be a little bit mid-August. I'll be landing back in Seattle in the US, and definitely look forward to, even if it's a small check-in, just to let you know that I'm back, and look forward to sharing some content with you again on the other side. So best wishes to all of you. I hope wherever you're at, you're in a place where you know that you can manage, you can get through. There are people there everywhere looking out for you. It's just a matter of knowing how to connect to them, which is something that I want to work harder at doing. Your spirit team are there, whether you've talked to them or not. You always have them there. So always check in that they need you to ask for help to help you. So you just have to remember that. Yeah, many blessings to you all. And mwah, I will see you on the other side of my trip. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.